Okay, so now I'm going to, I'll show you what I have right now, where I got the ROM, what originally worked. So go ahead and hide our cam. This is the XDA Developers Forum, uh, where you can find the Bliss ROMs. You could also go to, let's see, I have like different things open here. Okay, so that's their official Twitter account. That's actual ROMs there. Thought I had, oh, and that's Rufus. We don't want that either. Let's see here. Bliss ROM's website. So if you went to www.blissroms.com, this is the home for all the different ROMs. For, you can see here, they have it for Android, for phones, for tablets, and PCs. So what you want to do is you can scroll down here. They have downloads, Bliss device downloads. We actually want this, Bliss x86 for PCs and laptops. So this is the link to the thread, which is this tab over here. Get to it, it'll say this. So, and I just came here like 3 days ago when I originally did this. So anyhow, here's the tab, and then what you're going to want to do is the Bliss x86 downloads. If you click on that, you'll get in here. This is all the different ROMs. I went to the stable. And then, so there's 3 different versions. There's also 3 different, these are for like 64-bit, computers, or, like if you have like quad-core processors and stuff that can handle 64-bit. I did not. I was going with 32-bit. So the one I downloaded, I'm not sure exactly what the differences are between these 3. I ended up going with the one that says x86. And so if you go ahead and click that, download the ISO. Once that's done, there's also some, so what I followed the directions down here between this and the Android-x86 project. If you scroll down, here's the instructions. Originally it'll look like this. If you click to show content here on the first tab, they have a little walkthrough. So you can gather your tools. So you go ahead and you click here. This is Rufus. This is what you'll use to actually make the bootable USB drive. I used an SD card for mine, and then I use a USB reader. I'll show that on cam. You can see it. So anyways, I got the newest version here. You can get this portable version, and it doesn't even install. You just boot it up from whatever your downloads folder. So yeah, go ahead and grab that. You'll download it, fire it up. Then you'll plug in your USB key. This is the Rufus app here. You'll choose your device. Here will show your USB drive. You'll go ahead and choose it, and then you'll go down here to ISO image. You'll click. This will actually, I think it's originally on, it'll start up as free DOS. You'll want to change that to ISO image, and then you'll click here and you'll select your ROM. And then once that's good, I mean, if it's the right size, so my SD card was a 1 gig SD card. I just wanted to use one because the ROM itself is not even a gig. It's like 500 megabytes or something, so it installs perfectly fine. I had an old 1 gig SD card, so I just used that. You go ahead and start it. It'll, if everything works right, it should just burn, and it's a pretty quick process because it's, not even a gig. Once it's done, you can pop it out, and you can follow this here. You can then go ahead and I'll show you what we do after that. So we're going to go back to the Okay, so now we're going to go through the process of, if you're trying to, Rufus is, I'm just getting a comment here, so I'm going to read, Rufus is bogus, use Etcher from Etcher.io. All right, so we have Etcher.io as well that's been recommended. I did go ahead and use Rufus. It was just what they recommended, so it worked, and I went with that for now. So we're just going to follow along with that. Go ahead and use your preferred method. So here is this is a USB reader for an SD card. It's my 1 gig that's loaded with the ROM on it. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that guy in. So that should be there. We would go ahead and fire this guy up. And so hopefully this runs and works again. Okay, so we did get it. I'm going to hit escape to give us the boot selection. We hit escape again. And so now we get to choose what we want to boot off of. So you want to go ahead and check your USB drive. If you don't have these options, you'd want to go in the BIOS and make sure you have your USB drive bootable. And go ahead from there. So anyways, we're going to go from this USB mass storage device. We'll hit enter. This should be what you get if everything was done right with your Bliss OS ROM, making it bootable. And so you can go ahead, I mean, I did try it as first. What they recommend is you try this first selection, is you'll run it off of your USB drive. Since this laptop's so old, it took a while, and it was just so slow off the USB drive. We're not going to do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I loaded up. We'll go down to this fourth option. You'll hit installation. It'll go ahead and load up some stuff. Yeah, I'll have to give Remix a try. I haven't tried that yet. Here, legs falling asleep here. Okay, so now we're at the screen. Let's see if I can adjust this. It's showing all the partitions that were made by the original Linux OS that we just installed. And it also shows the storage device, which is the USB. So you do not want to select that. Do not select your storage device like USB. You will basically try to rewrite on the USB and it'll totally screw up. So this one, I think I'm going to try to guess here. I might screw this up, but I'm pretty sure it's the SDA2. Okay, so originally I don't know if this is going to let me do it, but when I originally tried to do this, I didn't really know anything. I was kind of going off the recommendation on the XDA developers forum is to make a bootable drive that it can load the bootloader in and everything, and I screwed the whole thing up. I deleted all the original stuff on there. All these partitions I just deleted and tried to start from scratch and screwed it all up. It loaded on, but I couldn't get, when I restarted the computer, I couldn't get a bootloader. So it was kind of useless. At the time, I didn't know too. I might have been able to, but there's also with the EEE PC, if you spam on F9 when you reboot, you're supposed to get the original bootloader screen, which I didn't know at the time. So I might have been able to go into it, but this is supposed to, or actually, I'm sorry, the grub. So it's supposed to load up a grub. I couldn't get to grub. I couldn't get back in the OS when I originally did this because I deleted everything, tried to start from scratch, screwed it all up. It installed right, but I couldn't get a grub when I restarted the computer. So anyhow, this now has recreated partitions to where it has a grub. I think it's the first, that one would probably be the grub, where the grub is loaded to. This, I believe the second partition is where it has the full Linux installed. So I'm going to go ahead and try it on that. It's either 2 or 3. We're going to see. I'll be able to tell when we load it up. So I'm going to select 2. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And they also recommend, so if you're doing this, they recommend in the instructions that once you hit it, you want to do it ext4. You want to reformat this partition ext4, or it will not work correctly. So it says all data in the partition will be lost. That's fine. If I have a catastrophe, I have the original backup disk. I can just reformat. Make sure you have something to back up to. If you're doing this from a different Linux install or Remix OS or whatever you're using, make sure before you do this and before you screw yourself that you have something to reload if you totally botch this. So we're going to go ahead and format. Hit yes. It's now formatting partition SDA2. And it takes a little bit. I don't think it's super long. Come on. Eat 'em up, gators, eat 'em up. Okay, so this is the interesting thing. I'm going to try it again. When I redid this finally, I actually skipped this install of grub, and it installed it anyways, which was a surprise, but it worked perfectly. So I'm actually going to try to skip it. You might say yes, you might skip it. You might have to do it again if it doesn't work. You just, reload to this CD drive. I did it about, 3 or 4 times before I got it to finally work. But you're not going to totally break the computer if this doesn't work the first time. So don't worry. You just have to reload to the USB drive and try this again if you screw it up or do the wrong partition or whatever. I'm going to show you. I'll know the size-wise. So anyways, I'm going to try skip. You also make sure you want to do yes as read and write here. That's in the instructions as well. You definitely want read and write access. So we hit yes. It's going to do some stuff, and you want, this is what I got. This is, if it doesn't give that, if it's any other number, or if it's super low, it means you chose like your drive's too small or the partition's too small. When I originally retried this again, I think I tried that second or the first drive, and it was showing around like 70,000 kilobytes, and it went like halfway through this, and then it failed and said you can't, this didn't work. So if you get something around this says let's see, 1,371,980 kilobytes is expected to be written. So it's installing Android-x86 right now. And so if this goes right, we should be able to boot right into Android-x86 afterwards. So pretty fast process once you get it going. Which is nice as well. Disk, so it should do that, and then it should either reboot on its own. Okay, so we want to let's try rebooting. We're going to reboot and see if it did it right. You could have right there, you could have just gone on the OS, which I did the first time, and it runs. It'll always do that if it installs right. So we're going to let this go, and hopefully we should see a grub after this. Everything worked right, and it should just kind of go right into x86. Let us pray. Uh-oh. All right, so I think we might need to redo that and do the grub. So it is saying couldn't find valid file system superblock, press enter to reboot. So see, I did screw it up. So it must have somehow, it must have installed the grub. I don't know. I did it so many times the first time. So what we're going to do is go ahead and press escape. So this is good. Showing you some mistakes if you make them. We're going to go ahead and boot from the USB drive and try it again. And I'm going to go ahead and install the grub that time. So we'll go down to installation. Doing it live. Sometimes we make mistakes here. Okay, so now we've already formatted the... What's going on here? Escape. My arrows are not working. Escape. Tab. Uh-oh. Now we got a problem. No. Okay, I don't know what happened there. I guess I might have pressed a button too quick or something. Let's go ahead, escape again. USB mass storage. We want to go to installation in kernel. Huh. Very strange. Never had that happen, so I'm not sure exactly. Did I finally foul it all up? I can't move the selector at all. It's not. Oh, and now it's rebooting again. Well, this is not going well. Let's try. I'm going to try. I'm hitting F9 right now. I'm going to see if we get any grub from the original version. Spamming F9. Okay, so if you do spam F9, this is what you get. Normal boot, perform disk scan, or restore factory settings. So that doesn't help us because that doesn't give an Android option. We might have to restore. I'm going to try normal boot again. I'm going to try this one more time. Let's see. Okay, so we have to press enter to reboot. Here. Oh, I should have hit escape. I think I forgot to hit escape. Sorry guys. Let's see. Let's do that again. Okay, we want escape for the boot menu. USB mass storage. Install. Really weird. So the arrow keys aren't working now. I don't know why. Can't move on the screen. Before I could, and always have been able to. Oh, and now it's exiting. I don't know what happened there. So I'm gonna try to restore, and then I'm gonna. Okay, we're gonna hit enter to reboot. I'm going to go ahead and spam F9 when it reboots. I can get to the grub menu, which isn't the grub menu that it would install. It's a different grub menu. So I'm going to go ahead and restore factory settings, hit enter, press yes to continue. Formatting will remove, yep. Yes. So this is the fun. So I should have probably done the grub. For whatever reason, since I had done it so many times and kind of screwed it up, and you know, most of the times I would always select to install the grub like it says in the instructions. So one of those times it must have worked, because the very last time I did it, it said not to install a grub, but it must have already been installed because it worked. So this next time I'm going to reformat to original specs, and then we're going to go ahead and boot from the Android-x86 again, and I'll try to install it with the grub menu, and hopefully it should fire up. Hopefully I'm getting the right partition. It might be the third partition, but I'm pretty sure it was that number. I forget if they order it number 2, 3, 4 or 1, 2, 3. Okay, so formatting user partition done. Press enter to reboot. Oh, that was quick. That was a lot quicker than the CD. Okay, so let's see now. Now we're gonna do escape again. Escape, USB. Go to installation. So hopefully it just wrote over everything that the Android-x86, what we originally did with it, that should all be gone. So we're gonna kind of just redo this, hopefully, if it worked right. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know. External to external thing. Yeah, it redid it, but for some reason, I don't know what happened, but no longer not able to move. I wonder if somehow, let's see, let's go F2. Something got screwed up. I don't know why the keyboard stops working. Boot device priority. Let's see what that is. That seems fine. Removable device would be the USB. So that seems cool. Let's see, hard disk drives. Yeah, so we have the hard drive and then the USB hard drive. Boot settings configuration. We have quick. Oh yeah, and so that might be another thing too, is if you have one of these, you might just have to hit F2 a bunch when you first load them up. If they don't have these, you want these both disabled, because otherwise it tries to go like super quick into the OS, and you don't want that because it won't have your options. So if you boot into the BIOS, I would go ahead and disable those both, so it gives you a longer boot up. Okay, so I don't know, everything looks fine. I might have fouled up somehow fouled up the USB mass storage. What I might do, I'm going to save changes, say okay. I might power it completely down. I haven't done that yet. And try a fresh reboot. For some reason it might have, I don't know, something might have went wrong. Let's see. Oh, see, so, oh, does it start? Okay, so it goes back into this. This worked fine. So we know the restore works fine, which is good. We'll just hit enter, next, EEE, tab, EEE. Next. Oh, has to be 4. E. Oops. Let's do that. E. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to get out of here and reboot the thing. E. Finish. So not a perfect science, I guess, huh? Not a perfect science. Okay, so we're going to let this load. We have a storage device. Well, it sees the storage device. That's cool. Anyhow, we're going to go ahead and want to shut it completely down. Down the system. All right, and we have all the lights are out. Unplug and replug the USB in. I'm going to hit power. Okay, and then we're going to do escape again. We're going to try to reinstall again. See if this works. Come on. Let's work. Sorry for the shaky legs and such. I'm trying to like balance this all on my lap, and it's getting up in time. I was hoping this would go faster. Okay, so installation. Here we go. Damn. No love. I don't know why. I might okay, well. I wasn't planning on having to do that, but we might have to redo this disk. Oh, there we go. Finally read. Okay. Do this again. So, SDA2. Hit enter. We want it ext4 formatted. Hit enter. We want to say yes to formatting. Hit enter. I guess it was just real laggy. It must have been loading. Maybe those other times I might have freaked it out and it restarted because I was trying to press buttons. Okay, so now it's formatting again, and this time we're going to try to load the grub, and hopefully it all work right, and we should have this ROM loaded correctly. All right, we're going to choose yes this time to the grub. I want to do yes to read and write. A good number. That big. Leg is falling asleep. Adjust. All right, 50%. Let's go. There, almost there. coming in hot. All right. Thinking to disk. So now the question, do we want to just reboot or do we want to run Android? Let's run Android first, just so we don't totally waste another time. We'll just see if it runs. Does that right. All right. Got a ROM. So this always worked right, pretty much, when it, at least when it installed fine and nothing went wrong during the installation. Like I selected a big enough what's the word? I've totally forgot. Partition. If your partition's big enough, if you select all the right settings in the install, you should be able to boot into this like this. At least from my experience with it, I didn't ever have a problem. You know, and I've only tried it on this EEE PC, so I don't know, you know, on other laptops, other models, other even whatever desktops, it might not go so smoothly, but for the most part, this always worked. The problem I had was always, at least even the first initial times I did it, was getting the grub to fire up when I rebooted the system, and so I could never get back into the ROM. So we're going to go ahead and let this load up. We'll see. You'll see how it is. At least I can walk you through the startup here. So it's basically going to start up like it's a new, new installation of Android. And you'll be, selecting like you would be on a phone or something. It'll have some questions at the start. This logo does spin a while. This is, it's doing background stuff. Hard drive light is blinking. So it is doing things. They're just, they got this for, instead of having to stare at stuff going by on a screen, you get to look at the logo. And so, again, this could be probably a lot faster if you're running this on any sort of faster system. This is a Atom 1.6 megahertz single CPU. So, and just an old laptop in general, comparatively. It's 2006, so. And from what I remember, this is, it did take definitely longer the very first time you fire it up. Longer. Do. So again, in this is the Bliss ROM as of the moment. It's 7.2, and the Android version, I believe, is Android 7.1 that it loads. So the Bliss ROM is like a custom ROM, has some custom things built in to kind of make it more like a desktop that hopefully I can show you once this fires up. Go ahead and try to adjust here again, sorry.